Welcome. For this one, we're looking at 9.6, task 6. And in the previous, we did a lot of things with sampling, because sampling means that you're just taking part of the population, and it's not always feasible to take the entire population. And so some strategies to make sure that your sampling would represent the population. This task is about how do you measure your parameter of interest, okay? And that's what you want to know, okay? Sometimes it might be easy, sometimes it won't. And here's a couple possibilities. Surveys. This is how people feel about something. Preferences, okay? Observation studies. This is based on observations, capturing data, but you're not controlling or influencing the data in any way, or the process. And then finally, experiments where you're going to manipulate the variables to try and figure out that cause and effect, right? As opposed to just correlation, right? And the more stringent your experiment is set up, the closer you can get to determining that. So some things that are probably good to look at here: advantages and disadvantages. A survey, gosh, it's probably cheaper, it's probably faster, and it's good for opinions or perceptions. With a lot of things like the Survey Monkey, you can get a lot of information very quickly, okay? Disadvantage of this is there's no control. All right. You may have data that's that may not be accurate, so data inaccuracy. There's also a bias involved because people who participate in the survey may feel strongly one way or the other. Observational study is you're getting actual data. It's convenient. It's possibly cheap. It's possibly efficient. It's easy to do, to get data. And the disadvantage of that is there's no control, especially with the variables. So you're not going to know cause and effect, for example, because you don't know what might be controlling the data. Whereas if you do an experiment, you have a high degree of control. And the disadvantage is the high cost, potentially, as well as the time for setup. And you still might not know if it's cause and effect necessarily. However, you can set up your experiment to try and control for those variables to give you a better idea. So I'm going to say better idea for cause and effect. And so I guess the takeaway here is when you're trying to find out about a population, one thing is to identify how are you going to get a sample. And the second thing is how are you going to find out that parameter of interest? Are you going to do survey? Are you going to do observational studies? Or are you going to do an actual experiment?